In today's episode of Unscripted with Kathy, we shall talk about the pains of falling in love. Yes, I know that a lot of people talk about the joys, the happiness, and everything that comes with falling in love, but I feel like a lot of people seem to miss out on the handa ka na bang masaktan part of falling in love. And this is something that is close to my heart because when I was chasing love after my first marriage fell apart, I was constantly looking for the highs of being in love, the cuddling part, the sweet, the romantic side, the joy of falling in love. But I was not prepared for the pain that comes when you fall in love. And so I want to talk about the handa ka na bang masaktan part of it. Because I feel that if we are prepared for the hard part, the sad part, the crying part, the lonely part, and the painful part of falling in love, then we will be more equipped to handle falling in love with someone. So, this is not to terrify anyone who's just about to fall in love, but really to prepare people, especially the young ones, on what they need to do when they're about to fall in love. Because it is so rare that you see someone and in an instant you're madly in love. That's a really strong dose of attraction, but you're not in love yet. See, falling in love takes a lot of hardship, sacrifice, a lot of understanding, a lot of adjustment. And when we're not able to do that, it's very hard to stay in love. Falling in love is all about the magic, the spark, but staying in love, that's hard because staying in love consists of a lot of small things that add up to become big things. It's about doing small actions or acts of service for the one that you love, not because it brings you joy, but because it brings them joy. It makes them happy. For example, I let my husband go around the village, ride his bike. I let him play his PS5, and it doesn't add anything to my life, but I know it makes him happy. And when we do little things that make our partner, our husband, our boyfriend, girlfriend happy, we feel joy because seeing them happy makes us happy. But what about when they do things that bring us misery, pain, sadness, sorrow? How do you stay in love? When you're more prepared to deal with these things, I feel that you will be more equipped to handle these things. Falling in love is not all about pleasure, all about happiness, all about the kilig, the romantic aspect of things. Falling in love is a balance of the two things, but you need to make sure it's an 80-20. 80% you are happy, and the 20% sometimes you just kind of wanna the one that you love. And that is normal because life is not perfect. Your relationship is not perfect. No one is perfect. If you expect your partner to be perfect, then you are not in love with your partner. You are in love with the idea of your partner. And an idea goes away. An idea gets destroyed. An idea is not a person. The one that you love is person, and they will make mistakes. They will do things to hurt you. They will do things that will hurt you. But I believe that as long as it's unintentional, they're not doing it to really hurt you, to purposely hurt you, then you can sort things out. But I also believe that it takes two to tango and just one to break the dance. If only one person is making an effort to work things out, it will not play out well. It will not work out, and you're just bound to separate ways. So going back to handa ka na bang masaktan? I think when you fall in love, you need to be ready for the hard parts and the sad parts. What do I mean by this? You need to accept that when you fall in love, you will get hurt. It will happen because they will do something that will frustrate you. They will do something that can shock you. They will do something that you're not used to, and for them, it may be normal because that's what they grew up with. When you fall in love, you are falling in love not just with the person, but with his past, his present, the traditions, their culture, what they grew up with, their history. And that is something that can be hard to accept at times. That can be something that can be painful to you because you will suffer the consequences of the culmination of their entire history. And sometimes it is a bitter pill to swallow. So you need to be ready for that. You also need to be ready to handle their baggage should they have one. You need to accept that sometimes they don't want help, or they don't realize that they need help, or they may realize that they do need help, but they're not ready for the change. You need to accept that there are people who are so used to the pain, who are so used to the misery that they're in, that the idea of something better, of the unknown, terrifies them more. And it's not their fault. This is just the mental psyche that everyone has. To venture into something unfamiliar is frightening to a lot of people. The what if, I'm not sure, but what if it's worse? We tend to think on the negative instead of the positive. What if it's better? What if I can get out? Because we are so used to where we are, no matter how miserable things are, that we don't realize it can get better. It may be better. And if it's not, it can't possibly be worse than where you are already. So when you fall in love with someone, when you choose to be in a relationship with someone, you need to remember you are also choosing the world that they are in, that you will be immersed in their world. And you want to make sure, is this a world that I want to live in? Falling in love is so tricky, and it's really never just about you and the other person. Ideally, it is, but in reality, it's not. You have to deal with their friends, their family, their relatives. But if you are able to go through everything and you decide, the both of you together, that it will just be the two of you, or you will let in other people. Again, everything is up to you. But at the beginning, especially when you're young, it will be about everyone else and the two of you. So you need to be ready for this. You need to be prepared for this. But is it worth it? I would say that with the right kind of person and with the right kind of love, it definitely is. I don't have an ideal relationship with my husband, but it is as ideal as I can possibly want it to be. It is mostly about us, but we still have to take into consideration the other people around us. Because no man is an island, and eventually, when you have your family, it will take an entire village to raise your kids. But first, you need to survive the first heartbreak, the first heartache, the first sorrow, pain, and whatnot. And just remember, as long as the other person is not hurting you intentionally, be it mentally, psychologically, emotionally, and definitely physically, then there is a possibility that things will be sorted as long as the two of you are willing to work on it. But if one of you has given up, do not make the mistake of pushing and pushing. Remember, listen to what they're trying to say when they're not saying anything. And if what they're saying without saying anything is that we don't want you anymore, then let go. And be ready to experience everything there is about love, happiness, sorrow, pain, and everything that comes in between. I hope that this was helpful to you, and I will see you guys on the next video.